Hi, this is Jennifer Hasser, and today we're going to talk about Magic Bridge. Magic Bridge is a card game that we offer at Kendore Learning, and you can play it multiple ways. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to play it today. It goes over the age-old concept of Magic E, which is also called Bridge E or Sneaky E or Silent E around the country, but we call it Bridge E here. At Kendore Learning, and the game is called Magic Bridge. So what we're going to talk about is when we teach the concept of Bridge E, which is if you have a closed syllable like bit and you add the E to the end like this, that E gets to make a bridge over and makes that I say its name. So now it says bite. So bit and bite would be what we considered a pair. So if we're going to try to play games, we're going to be looking for combinations of where we have our closed syllable and our bridge E syllable, which would be bit closed and bite bridge E. So this game can be played a couple different ways, and so I'm going to show you how we play it. So one, when kids are first starting out with this concept, believe it or not, I have a lot of kids that are older that still don't quite have this concept internalized. So we have some easy ways of playing this game, and then we have some more difficult ways of playing this game. So the easiest way of all is to put it down and play memory, and so or concentration, depending on which way you learned or which name you learned to play this game. So what would happen with this game is this is what we do even with our little teeny ones, like our kindergartners, is we put out, no more than like 5 pair because we don't want it to get too overwhelming. And then we have them flip over a card and they have to read it. And so this one is Grim, and they always have to say what they're looking for. So if they were to add an E at the end and then it would make that I say its name, they're looking for grime. So we'd flip one over, and unfortunately they have bit. So they did not make a match. So then it would be the next person's turn, and so they flip over one and they have dine. So what they'll be looking for is the word that would go with that would be din without the E. So I always say, what are you looking for? And so they're going to say din. So they get to flip one over, and we have robe. So those two are not a pair. Okay. Then the next person, you could play this with multiple people, or you could just play it with 2 people. And then, I have grime. Now I have to remember, where was my grim? I think it was here. And so now I have a pair. So I have grime, I was looking for grim, I have grim, and that's a pair. I always have the kids set them out when they win so we can see it, just in case they mismatch a pair, because then somebody will not win in the end. And now you can either let them go again or let the other person go, depending on how you want to play. I usually just take turns so that one person doesn't get too lucky, because especially if they're really young, they will cry. And we don't like it when they cry. So we flip over bit, we'll look for another one. What am I looking for? I'm looking for bite. What do I have? Rid. And so I don't have a match. So this would keep going until all the pairs are done. Or in a classroom, when teachers do this and they have multiple groups of kids, we just say, when the time is up, whoever has the most pairs wins. So that way, if you play for 5 minutes, someone might have 2 pairs, someone might have 6, the 6 would win, but you didn't necessarily finish the game. And if they finish the game, we just say deal it out again, and then we keep a time limit on it so that parts of the class aren't being rowdy because they finished their game and other parts are still playing. That way the time limit kind of works better for behavior management. You might have to model this for kids in a pocket chart in the front of the room, on a chalk tray, dry erase tray in the front of the room, and have the kids sit down on the carpet and break them into teams and have them try to guess and take turns flipping them over in a pocket chart. And then once they get it down, kindergartners are able to play this game on their own quite easily. You just want to make sure you limit it to the number of pairs. In the kindergarten, if I'm going to have 5 groups, I might take 10 word pairs and put them in a Ziploc baggie, and that way I have 4 or 5 different groups that can be playing simultaneously. There's quite a lot of cards in here, and if you give them too many and they spread out too many, they'll never find their pairs because their memory is so much shorter. They'll never be able to remember where they saw it last. So keep it limited, and it's a really fun game. This next game we call grab. And so grab is designed to be a little bit faster paced reading game for kids that have learned the concept and we're just trying to get them moving through it a little quicker. So we're adding a little bit of a fluency component. So I've played this with kids. I've put the whole deck down and we've played in like groups of 5 or 6. I just did this game with a group of remedial 3rd and 4th graders. And it gets quite heated and fun because they try to read them as quickly as possible. And a lot of kids will read them incorrectly. They'll see bit and say bite. And so they catch themselves now because they won't be able to keep their card if they said it incorrectly. So we flip it over and one person would say fat. Then the next person gets it thin. And I got a grab card, which means I get to steal everybody's card. So you hear a bunch of moaning going on when everybody loses their cards, but they get over it because they want to keep moving because there's more grab cards in there. So there's, I think, 7 or 8 grab cards in here, and then they never know when they're going to get it, and then they get to steal everybody's deck. So at the end of the deck, whoever has the most cards will win, and usually one person has the majority of them. So if I continue on, this person has pin, plan, code, cop, at, 8, cope, bide, and this person won all the cards. So right now they're pretty happy. The next person has already started picking their card because they want to keep moving because they know they're going to have a better chance. Oh, I get it again, and I get to take them all back. Okay, and then that's their turn and their turn. Plat, prim, brat, rip, grab. They get all the cards. You want to make sure that they're reading them. You can have them read them and tell you what the opposite is. Sometimes I'll have them go prim prime or rat rate or cope cop so that we know that they know what the difference the E makes on the word. And pretty much this person's going to win everything because there's only one card left, and that's grab. And so they can play this pretty quickly. They have to try to say them really quickly. The kids will move and they stay focused because they really want to win. So it's great, honestly, for keeping kids on task and doing the task at hand for the entire time. Sometimes people don't like these games because they think, oh, it gets chaotic. Well, it does. The kids are having a great time. They might get a little loud, they get competitive, but that means they're really focused on it and they care about it. So if you have kids who get a little too excited when they win, I talk about being good winners and good losers, and if they are too loud, I work in a school that does not have any doors. They have open classrooms. If they're super excited, they're allowed to marshmallow clap, or they're allowed to marshmallow scream, but they can't literally clap or scream. So they get to get some of their excitement out without a lot of noise. But I hate for noise and a little bit of positive, chaotic energy to keep people from using these games because they really are so amazingly helpful for kids to really automatize a concept. A lot of kids learn a concept, they learn it for the week, and then they don't apply it, they don't use it correctly. They don't really understand it when they get to more complex rules where you're going to have to protect a vowel from an E or drop an E. You know, when they get to, you know, when they have hope and they want to make it hoping, that they're going to have to drop their E, and do they need to double it? If they don't really understand this bridge E concept at the end, then it's going to impede their ability to learn those higher order spelling rules. So now I'm going to show you another game, and this one is called Go Fish. So what would happen is I would say, I have nod, and then I would ask you for what you have. So I would say, I have nod, do you have node? So you're going to look at your hand, which normally you wouldn't lay it out so everyone could see it. But if I said, I have nod, do you have node? You would say, go fish, because you do not have it. So then I pick up from my hand and see if I have another match, which I do not. So then you would say, okay, I have gape, do you have gap? And I do not, so you would have to go fish. Okay? Then I would say, I have nod, do you have node? And if you had node, which you do, then you give that to me. I now have a pair, and now it's your turn, and you can ask me, I have dime, do you have dim? And I do not, so you would go fish. And this game keeps on going until you're out of cards. The first person who puts down their last pair, has nothing left in their hand, wins. And this game can be played with 2, 3, 4, 5 different kids at a time. You know, I like it better in smaller groups, but it's quite easy to play up to about 5. And there's enough cards, because I only took half of the cards out of the deck, that you could even separate them into more than one deck, so that you could have more than one group playing at one time, or larger groups of kids playing. This one is much more difficult because of its demand on working memory. You have to be able to say dime and then realize what it is without the E, dim, or if you had ban, you have to kind of visualize, you know, in your short-term working memory that it would be vein. So kindergartners have a little bit of a tougher time with this. They might be able to do it kind of developmentally with working memory by the end of the year, but if you start with this, you may never take the deck out. So in kindergarten, you want to start with memory, and then you can work your way up to grab, and then work your way to go fish. And there are still more games that you can play with these cards, and we also use them to play hot lava. If you're interested in learning how to play hot lava, it is another video on our YouTube channel, and it is a game where the kids have to, you put the cards down and they have to cross the lava stones. These would be the lava stones, and you would say, okay, you can hop only on bridge E, or only on closed syllables, or you could call them out and they have to hop across the lava based on what you're calling. So you might say dime, and then knot and cube, and they have to step on them as they cross the lava. Of course, if they step on the wrong word, they die a fiery, horrible death in the fake lava. But it's fun for all. So hopefully you'll check out that video as well, and some of our other card games on Kendore Learning, and have a great day.